Hi, hello everyone. Dear students, here I am going to give you the solutions for MPSC questions regarding design of concrete structures. This subject includes PSC, RCC and CT. If you see the weightage given in this exam, from PSC 11 questions given, from RCC 11 questions given and from CT 2 questions given. Total number of questions given from design of concrete structures is 24. Total number of questions given in this exam 100. So, 1/4 of the weightage given for design of concrete structures. Feel happy, right? From single subject you are getting 1/4 of the weightage. Now, we will see the solutions for PSC questions first, thereafter I will give for RCC questions, at the end I will give for CT questions. Okay? Right. First question, the frictional and anchorage slip losses are observed in options given: post tensioned members, option B pre-tensioned members, option C ruptured members, option D tensile members. As here given that frictional and anchorage slip losses, these losses we come across in pre-stressed concrete, right. In pre-stressed concrete there are two methods, one is pre-tensioning method, the other one is post-tensioning method. Option D given that tensile members, my dear, it is a wrong option. Ruptured members, it is also a wrong option, because these losses we come across in pre-stressed concrete. Under pre-stressed concrete, as I said, there are two methods, one is pre-tensioning, the other one is post-tensioning. Coming to these two losses comes under post-tensioning method. In post-tensioned members only these losses will come. Why there is no loss of stress due to anchorage slip under pre-tensioning method? Since the tendon is provided inside the concrete, there is a good bond between concrete and tendon, hence no need of end anchorages to hold the tendon. Once after hardening concrete, the concrete itself holding the tendon, it will retain the stress present in the tendon. So, no need of providing any anchorages. If you are not going to provide any anchorages at the end to hold the tendon, then how can you expect the loss due to anchorage slip? That is why anchorage loss will not come under pre-tensioning method. Coming to the frictional losses, friction loss is due to curved bars, even due to the duct or sheath what we have provided, right. So, in pre-tensioning method we do not provide curved members, even we do not provide duct. So, there is no chance of getting friction loss under pre-tensioning method. These two losses comes under only post-tensioning method, but not in pre-tensioning method. So, option A is correct. Okay? Right. Coming to the second question, a simply supported pre-stressed concrete beam of cross section 150 mm by 250 mm, size of pre-stressed concrete member given that 150 mm by 250 mm is subjected to a superimposed load of 5 kilonewton per meter over a span of 5 meters, span given 5 meters. If the pre-stressing force of 750 kilonewton is applied through parabolic cable with the eccentricity of 50 mm, eccentricity given 50 mm, where at center and 0 eccentricity at support, then what will be the extreme fiber stress at bottom fiber, at end support, what will be the bottom fiber stress. It is better if you see the figure. Let us take a simply supported pre-stressed concrete beam in which provided a parabolic tendon, given that eccentricity 50 mm at midspan, 50 mm at midspan, whereas 0 at the supports, 0 at the supports. Okay. They are asking to find out the stress at support at bottom fiber. Now, this beam is subjected to load, this beam is subjected to uniformly distributed load, and very clearly given that in the question neglect the self weight of the beam. First of all, I would like to write the stress at bottom fiber. The stress at bottom fiber is P by A plus Pe by Z minus Md by Z minus Ml upon Z. If you draw bending moment diagram for the given loading, it is 0 at supports, correct na? As moment is 0 due to live load, my dear, this term becomes 0. Then self weight is neglected, that is why this term become 0, say neglected this one. As the eccentricity at supports is 0, so this term becomes 0. Then only you will have P upon A. What is the pre-stressing force given here? It is 750 kilonewton, 750 kilonewton, right. Let us write in Newton upon area. What is the area here? 150 by 250, 150 by 250 is the cross sectional area. Now cancel it, 250 ones are 250 threes are, 3 ones are 350s are. Now you are going to get 1000 by 50, you are going to get 1000 by 50, right. So 0 0 gets cancelled, you are going to get after simplification 20 megapascal, 20 megapascal. They are asking stress at support at bottom fiber. So at bottom fiber stress is 20 megapascal, okay, right. Which option is correct? Option A is correct, okay, right. We will see next question. In reference to limit state of serviceability, my dear, regarding serviceability of cracking, when cracking is permitted and hypothetical tensile stresses are considered in design, assuming section is uncracked, it is type 1 element, type 2 element, type 3 element, type 4 element, like this options given. According to IS 1343, my dear, only type 3, type 2, type 1 available, there is no type 4. So option D is wrong. Type 1 is there, type 2 is there, type 3 is there, right, based on cracking. My dear, in type 1 no cracks are permitted, but here given cracking, so option A is wrong. In type 2 cracking is permitted, but cracks are not visible, that point is not mentioned, no visible cracks, that point is not mentioned here. So type 2 is wrong, the remaining one is option C, option C is correct, okay. In type 3 we can permit the cracks, but crack width will be within limits, right. Option C is correct for the given question. Let us move to the next question. In the case of high tensile alloy steel bars, any straightening shall be carried out by mechanical means. Bars shall not be bent when their temperature is less than. My dear, it is a common sense. The bar should be bent under a particular temperature, otherwise cracks will form. Here IS 1343 strictly telling that you should not go for bending the bars if the temperature is less than 10 degrees. Option A is correct. If it is less than 10 degrees, you should not go for bending the bars. If you do it, then there is a chance of formation of the cracks, right, because in a high strength steel, carbon content will be high. As carbon content is high, ductility will be more, but ductility is less, brittleness will be more, right. Okay. See the next question. A post tensioned pre-stressed concrete beam is stressed by 3 cables. It is mentioned that post tensioned, each with a cross sectional area of 50 mm square with an initial stress of 90 megapascal. Area given 50 mm square, initial stress given 900 megapascal. If all 3 cables are straight and located at an eccentricity of 50 mm, consider modular ratio as 6 and stress in concrete at the level of steel is say 5 megapascal. Then what will be the loss in stress in cables due to elastic shortening if all cables are simultaneously tensioning and anchoring? My dear, in post tensioning method, suppose this is a member, this is the member. Here n number of cables are provided, nothing wrong in it. Then provided here anchorage, beyond anchorage we have to provide that mechanical jack. This mechanical jack or hydraulic jack function is pulling the tenon so that stress is created, stress is developed in the tenon, right. Okay. Here tenon is pulling with the help of hydraulic jack. Whenever it is pulling, it will push the anchorage, right. So, for a required force pulling in this, the member deformed to this much level, let us say. Then once after, my dear, creating the required stress in the tenon, you just to tighten the anchorages and remove the mechanical jacks or hydraulic jacks. So that what happen, my dear, this tenon is holded by this anchorage. Then cut the tenon, then force will be acting on anchorages. How much force is acting? Let us say P. Already for that force, deformation is completed in concrete. Now there is no chance of deforming the concrete under this force. For a force P, deformation is completed during tensioning stage itself. Once after cutting the tenon, same force will be present in the tenon which is acting on anchorage. Due to this force, there is no further deformation in concrete. If concrete will not deform, then there is no loss of stress. Got it? So, option D is correct. Option D is correct. For this question, option D is correct. In post tensioning method, if you tension all cables simultaneously and also anchorage to be done simultaneously, then there will not be any loss of stress. Sir, why? By that time already deformation is completed in concrete member, right. Okay, option D is correct. Moving to next question. A rectangular concrete beam 120 mm by 300 mm in size is pre-stressed by straight cable. Effective force 180 kilonewton at eccentricity equal to 50 mm. Area 36 into 10 cubed mm square, Z 18 into 10 cubed mm cubed, section modulus given. Find total stress due to pre-stress. It is not mentioned that stress at top fiber or stress at bottom fiber. It is given simply find total stress due to pre-stress. Okay. Let us say stresses F at top and bottom fiber we can find out only due to pre-stress, only due to pre-stress. So, P by A plus R minus PE by Z. Okay, right. Let us say P by A. What is the pre-stressing force? 180 kilonewton, right in Newton, upon area 120 by 300 plus or minus 180 into 10 cubed pre-stressing force, eccentricity be the 50 mm, upon Z is 1 by 6 into BD square, 120 into 300 square. My dear, if you simplify this one, you can get value 5 plus or minus. Even if you simplify this, you can get 5. 5 plus 5, 10, 10 Newton per mm square. 5 minus 5, 0. So, 10 and 0 we are getting. If we observe options, 0 is not there. Okay, na? Right. So, 10 is the answer. Option A is correct. They have not mentioned in the question to find out the stress at top fiber or at bottom fiber. Simply it is asked that find out the total stress. Let us find out both P by A plus or minus PE by Z. By getting the answer, let us check the options. Easily you can get the option. Okay, na? Right. So, for the given question, option A is correct. Move to the next question. The minimum 28 days cube compressive strength prescribed in the Indian Standard Code IS 1343 for pre-tensioned members. According to IS 1343 code, minimum grades of concrete we have to use for pre-tensioned members M40, for post-tensioned members M30, right. It is according to IS 1343 code. For pre-tensioning, we can use M40. Under post tensioning, we can use, my dear, M30 is the minimum grade of concrete. You can write this one as FCK equal to 40 megapascal, and here you can write down FCK equal to 30 megapascal. In the question they have asked for pre-tension. So, 40, option C is correct. Okay, right. Move to the next question. At the time of initial tensioning, the maximum tensile stress FPI immediately behind the anchorage shall not exceed dash of the ultimate tensile strength FPU of the wire or bar or strand. According to IS 1343 code, it is clearly mentioned it should not be more than 76% of the ultimate strength of the steel. Okay. You should not create the stress in a tendon. The stress will be not more than 76% of ultimate strength of the steel. So, option C is correct. It is as per IS 1343 code, right. Okay. Move to the next question. Minimum strength of concrete at transfer stage shall be. At transfer stage, what are the effects to be considered? Self weight as well as pre-stressing effect, only these two, correct na? If you see option D is regarding flexural tensile strength of concrete. They are not asking flexural tensile strength. So, option D is wrong. If you see 0.24 root FCK, it is also prescribed in IS 1343 code, that is principal tensile strength of concrete. It is also not a question. Now, what is 0.67 FCK? It is the strength of the concrete. Actually, in a member, strength of concrete at the time of failure, right. They are asking minimum strength of concrete at a transfer stage shall be, at a transfer stage will be. My dear, it is option C is correct, maybe option A is wrong, right. There is not mentioned anywhere 0.5 FCK, right. So, 0.67 FCK be the strength of the concrete, right. Next one, drying shrinkage strain develops slowly as it. Here shrinkage is nothing but reduction in volume of concrete due to loss of moisture content. Here if you read the options, easily you can pick up from the definition itself. Option A given develops during initial period of concreting, B given depends on time, C given develops due to pre-stressing concrete, option D given is a function of migration of water through the hardened concrete. Absolutely, right. During loss of moisture content, the volume is going to be reduced, right. So, it is a function of migration of water through the hardened concrete. Option D is correct for the given question. Next question. In the case of cables or large bars, the minimum clear spacing measured between sheathings or ducts shall not be less than the larger of. According to IS 1343 code, the spacing should not be less than 40 mm, or it is the size of the cable or bar, or 5 mm plus nominal maximum size of coarse aggregate. It is given in IS 1343 code, right. Under spacing requirement, it is clearly mentioned. Now, option B is correct, 40 mm or maximum size of cable or bar, or nominal maximum size of aggregate plus 5 mm, right. Okay. Let us move to the next one. Next question. Up to now, we have seen pre-stressed concrete questions. Now, RCC questions we will see. Okay, from RCC, how they are asking questions and what is the correct option we will see here. Let me read the question first. A continuous beam ABCD as shown in figure is subjected to UDL W kilonewton per meter over all spans. What is the moment at support C? Where is the C? Here. At support C due to dead load WD and live load WL as per IS 456-2000. Actually, moment coefficients are used to find the moments for continuous slabs and continuous beams, which is the table related to moment coefficients given in IS 456-2000, table number 12, right. Here if you observe, they are asking what will be the moment at support C. What is this? It is a support next to the end support. This is end support, this is also end support. It is a support next to the end support. It is also support next to the end support. The moment coefficients given in table number 12 for this type of support condition is 1 by 10 and 1 by 9, 1 by 10 and 1 by 9. Here where it is given, first option itself correct. 1 by 10 times dead load, actually we can write like this, 1 by 10 times dead load plus 1 by 9 times live load into L square. This is negative because support moment na, that is why negative. Here L square they have bring inside, instead of L they are writing LE, effective span they are writing LE. Okay? Fine, option A is correct. Let us move to the next question. For a two-way continuous slab, it is a two-way slab, that too it is a continuous slab of shorter span less than or equal to 3.5 meter with the HYSD reinforcement, the span to overall depth ratio is taken as dash to satisfy vertical deflection limit for loading class up to 3 kilonewton per meter square. My dear, it is given in IS 456-2000, span to overall depth ratio for span up to 3.5 meters, whereas live load up to 3 kilonewton per meter square. Here it is given that HYSD bars, HYSD bar, right, for HYSD bar. Similarly, span to depth ratio given for mild steel also, for live load up to 3 kilonewton per meter square, for span, okay, for span up to 3.5 meters. Type of slab, type of slab, says type of slab is simply supported, for this it is 35, for continuous slab it is 40. To get L by D ratio for HYSD bars, you need to multiply this with 0.8, 0.8, you will get it is 28, here you will get 32. The question asked regarding continuous slab, that too for HYSD bars, to control the deflection, right. Say option C is correct, option C is correct, okay na, right. Next question, what is the unsupported length of the column as shown in figure if cross section of column is 300 mm by 500 mm and cross section of bracket is 300 mm by 500 mm, right. Options given and here figure given. Generally what is meant by unsupported length? Unsupported length means clear height of the column which is visible to us, right. Whenever bracket connection given, IS code clearly telling that you can take up to bottom of the bracket, up to bottom of the bracket you can take it unsupported length, which must be half of the height of the column. You can check total height is how much, 2 plus 1, 3, 3.5 meter, up to bottom of the bracket 2 meters, it is no doubt more than half of the height of the column. Suppose if it is less than half of the height of the column, then you can consider half of the height of the column as the unsupported length. For this question, unsupported length, my dear, we can take 2 meters, very clearly mentioned in IS 456-2000. So, option D is correct for this question, okay, right. Next question, a beam is designed using M20 grade of concrete and Fe 415 grade of steel, is used for tension reinforcement, okay. If diameter of main steel is 12 mm, then what is the minimum value of development length? What is the minimum value of development length provided in support section? My dear, what is the formula we can write for development length? LD equal to phi into sigma st upon 4 times tau BD. Is it right? Okay. What is the bar diameter given? 12 mm given into 0.87 F5. Sigma st value in limit state method we can write 0.87 F5. 0.87 F5 is 415 upon 4 into, my dear, it is a HYST bar. So, increase tau BD by 60%. Since it is HYST bar, tau BD is increased by 60%. No need to increase 25% because it is mentioned very clearly the steel bar is kept in tension zone. It is a tension reinforcement, right. So, tau BD value M20 grade concrete given. For M20 grade concrete, tau BD is 1.2. Once if you simplify, you can get 564 mm. After simplification, you will get, my dear, 564 mm. Option B is correct. Okay, right. Shall we move to next question? Yes. Next question is the basic maximum ratio of span to effective depth. Ratio of span to effective depth of a slab simply supported and spanning in one direction. Here spanning in one direction refers to one way slab. Spanning in one direction refers to one way slab. For one way slab in IS 456-2000 nowhere mentioned span to effective depth ratio, but however you design a beam, in the same manner you are going to design one way slab also. So, whatever the limits you are taking for checking deflection, the same span to depth ratio values you can take it even for one way slab. Okay, na? Right. It is mentioned simply supported. For simply supported beam, what is the span to depth ratio we have to take? 20, where span is up to 10 meters, correct na? Right. Here it is mentioned that for span up to 10 meters. So, up to 10 meters for simply supported beam we can take 20 span to depth ratio. Same thing we can use it, even for one way slab. Okay, na? For one way simply supported slab, span to depth ratio will be 20. Okay, right. Move to the next question. Next question is the horizontal distance between parallel reinforcement bars or groups near the tension face of a beam shall not be dash if Fe 415 grade of steel is used as a reinforcement without redistribution of moments. Very clearly one table given in code regarding the spacing based on redistribution of moments. For a zero redistribution, that too for Fe 415 grade steel, it is given 180 mm. See, it is given that 180 mm. Okay? Right. Move to the next question. My dear, it is a famous question. Almost in all exams they are going to ask this question. We will see. The thickness at the edge of a footing shall be not less than dash for footing on soil, nor less than dash above the top of the piles. When footing is resting on soil, minimum edge thickness according to IS 456-2000 is 150 mm, 150. If the footing is resting on piles, the minimum edge thickness will be 300 mm. these two limits recommended by IS 456 2000. So, here given 150 mm and 300 mm, option C is correct, option C is correct. Okay. When footing is resting on soil, minimum edge thickness will be 150 mm. See like this, this is the footing ma. This is a ground level, this is the depth of foundation, this one be the edge thickness, it is 150 mm since it is resting on soil. If the footing is resting on piles, the minimum edge thickness I am talking, this one minimum edge thickness will be 300 mm, right. These are the piles, this is the footing, footing is resting on piles, minimum edge thickness will be, we have to maintain 300 mm. So, option C is correct. Next, in case of stairs with open wells where spans partly crossing at right angles occurred, the load on area common to any two such spans may be taken as dash in each direction. Let us take, my dear, open well staircase. It is the plan of open well staircase. Right, these are the steps you can say. This is the landing slab, these are the steps, this is the landing slab, again these are the steps. Now, how do you take the load for this type of staircase? We can take the load, complete load up to here, but here only 50% we have to take. Here it is a W, but here we are going to take W by 2. Let us see this side, it is W by 2 up to here, then it is complete W, again here we are going to take W by 2. Sir, why do we take W by 2 at the place of landing slab? It is a W, it is a W by 2, it is a W by 2. Reason is, while designing, my dear staircase, we can take waste slab then followed by landing slab. In this flight, we have to consider this landing. Even while designing this flight, we have to consider this landing slab. Landing slab we are considering twice in a design. That is why you can take half of the load here. Here full load you can take, here half, here half. Total load will become once again W. Okay, my dear. So, 1 by 2 is the answer. 1 by 2 is the answer. Okay, right. Next question. A circular water tank is designed to store water for 78,500 liters capacity. The water tank rests on ground with the flexible joints. If M30 concrete and Fe 415 steel is used, then what is the maximum hoop tension developed in water tank if diameter and total height of the tank are 5 meters and 4 meters respectively? My dear, hoop tension developed in a tank due to water pressure, hoop tension can be find out like this: gamma into H into D by 2, where gamma is unit weight of water or density of water. It is exact value is 9.8, but for simplification instead of 9.8 we are going to take 10. Let us take 10 into H. What is the height of the tank given here? Height of the tank, it is 4 meters, right. What is the diameter of the tank given? 5 meters, 5 by 2. So, simplify, 2 1s are 2 2s are 10 2s are 20 into 5, 100. My dear, 100 kilonewton is the hoop tension developing, right. Option C is correct. Okay, right. Move to the next question. Cantilever retaining wall is designed mainly to resist dash from backfill. How is the cantilever retaining wall? This is how the cantilever retaining wall will be. Say it is the front side, this is the back side, it is the backfill. My dear, the soil which is supported by this vertical wall is nothing but backfill. Due to backfill, which type of pressure is taken for a design purpose? That is a question. Normally, backfill exert active earth pressure. It will exert active earth pressure Pa. The soil present below the base slab, my dear, it will exert upward pressure, right, but the backfill exert active earth pressure. For active earth pressure only, this vertical wall we have to design. Option A is correct. The question is, a cantilever retaining wall is there which is designed mainly to resist. My dear, from backfill, they are not asking regarding bottom slab, they are asking this one only. This vertical wall is designed for what? Designed for active earth pressure. Okay, right. Next question. If the thickness of the slab is 160 mm, then what will be the maximum diameter of reinforcing bars that can be used as main reinforcement? My dear, in slabs, IS code recommended that maximum diameter should not be more than 1/8 of overall thickness of the slab, right. What is overall thickness given here? 160 mm. It should be less than or equals to, my dear, 160 upon 8 is 20 mm, less than or equal to 20 mm. First we check option equal to. If equal to is not there, then we can go for next symbol. Equal to 20 mm, yeah, it is there. Suppose 20 mm is not given in options, then I will take less than symbol. For that I am going to take the diameter. Okay, na? Right. Next question. Yeah, with that my dear, RCC questions completed. Now let us see, my dear, concrete technology. From concrete technology there are two questions. First question is, it is a new question. So far you will not find anywhere this question. Maybe based on slump test there are n number of questions, but this is the first time they have asked that IS code for slump test. See the question, in which IS code are details of slump test mentioned? My dear, in IS 1199/99, in this code regarding slump test, my dear, the details are given, right. How to take sampling, that details given in IS 1060 code. Okay, fine. In MPSC it is very interesting to know that every time they will ask one question based on codes. Based on codes, one question compulsory they are going to ask. Even last time also I remembered regarding fire safety, they have asked one question, which code is regarding fire safety, like that. Okay. Move to the next question. As per IS 456-2000, minimum cement content for M25 grade concrete with moderate exposure condition used in RCC work is, my dear, here minimum cement content they are asking for M25 grade concrete, right. According to IS 456-2000, table number 5, if you refer table number 5, given minimum cement content in RCC for M25, that to moderate exposure condition, for mild, for moderate, for severe, for very severe, extreme. It is better to remember like this: minimum grade of concrete in RCC will be M20 for general construction. Next, for every exposure condition you can increase 5, M25, M30, M35, M40. They are asking for M25 grade concrete under moderate exposure condition, what will be the minimum cement content? It is 300 kgs per cubic meter. Same 300, 320, 340, 360 kgs. According to this table, my dear, 300 kgs per cubic meter we have to take minimum cement content. Okay, right. These are the, my dear, options for the given questions from design of concrete structures subject. Anyway, you just recall once from first question to last question, go back once. Yeah, first question, my dear, it is option A is correct. For first question, option A is correct. Coming to the second question, option A is correct. Coming to the third question, option C is correct. Coming to the fourth question, my dear, option A is correct. Coming to the next question, option D is correct. Coming to the next question, my dear, option A is correct. Coming to the next question, option C is correct. Next question, option C is correct. Next question, option C is correct. For the next question, option D is correct. And for this question, option B is correct. And for this question, option A is correct. And for this question, option C is correct. For this question, option D is correct. For this question, option B is correct. For this question, option D is correct. For this question, option D is correct. It is from IS 456-2000. It is given in code, right, for zero distribution, for zero redistribution of moments, given that for Fe 415 grade steel 180 mm. Next question, option C is correct. For the next question, option A is correct. For the next question, option C is correct. And for this question, option A is correct. And for this question, option D is correct. For this question, option B is correct. For this question, option B is correct. Okay, fine. My dear, suppose if you have any doubts still regarding this, better you can send your doubt regarding these questions. Still if you have a doubt, you can send to this number, I will give the reply. I will give textbook or I will give code and class also from where we are getting this. Okay, right, carry on.